What is up, set of gamers? It is Nathaniel S5496. I do apologize if I sound a little tired today, as I was just working at my factory job and a little exhausted today, so I thought I'd put this video together. So we're going to start off with Forza Motorsport here today, where we show off some multiplayer stuff. Likewise, if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. And if you got any requests for games for me to try in the future, jot them down in the comment section below. Anyway, we're starting off with a practice run here, and as you can see on this first beginning part, I'm actually breaking my time record on this. This track is one of my favorites to race across just because it's really fun. As you can see, we are in the GT subclass, and that's what we're going to be taking on. I forgot the direct name, and I kind of screwed it up there. Managed to recover the car. As you can see, it's kind of swerving a little bit. Since I'm on controller, precise motions is pretty tough to do, but we manage. So I hit this next part, and I'm, for the most part, hitting it pretty good, pretty nice. My time is up, and we get our lap in. So definitely room for improvement, though, as I know there's definitely better times I can get out there. So we hit that with a 16 2/100th of a second. And we move on to the next section, where I continue on with the practice race, and I hit the next objective. This one, I'm immediately slow off because I didn't take the last corner very well, not doing so hot. So as you can see, I nearly spin out here as well. So there's definitely room for improvement there. Of course, I get in this little quarry with this guy in the practice zone, which kind of affects my initial time, so I'm a little down here. Not entirely sure if that's because I took it slow or because I had the guy passing me and I didn't want to knock him off the track, but we'll find out again as I'm about to take another lap. So in the second part, we go even faster. I take it better than the last one, probably because I came off a straight. Unfortunately, I botched it at the last minute. Once again, we hit this part, and I do nothing but an improvement, and I think I can take this part even faster if I really tried. It's going to take a lot of practice for me to nail that down, and I continue on forwards, and I believe I end up beating, and do actually, apparently, end up beating the record with a 15/800th. So we go in again, and then we got this part again, and I'm up, I'm even faster, and let's see if we take this much nicer, in which case we do, and I do it at 5 seconds and 1/10 of a second. Awesome stuff. So now I move on to qualify and get on to the actual race. So I managed to qualify in first place this time around, which was something I wasn't expecting, because normally I'm somewhere in the middle of the pack. So I thought I had a pretty good chance, and unfortunately this is where I'm about to get humbled. I thought I was going to do pretty well, but it turns out I make one of the worst mistakes I ever could pretty early on in the race, and it pretty much ruins the race for me. So I'll give you guys my thought process as you'll see what's about to happen, and it made me realize that, hey, I need to practice a lot more. So at a certain point, I'm going to be doing a proficiency run where I'm going to turn off the assist lines entirely and run on a full simulation setup to try to improve my speed time. Now, to clarify, I do race with simulation on, so anyway, the race is about to begin, and we are going to get this rolling. So it's probably a mistake to race in multiplayer with simulation on, but I don't really like to cheat, as I think each experience will improve my driving skill as I make these mistakes and learn to you know, better myself from them. I definitely believe I was in the fault in this case as well. So anyway, here's our race. By the way, we're racing the Acura GT. And here's where we go. So I'm in the front, and I'm already not very great with my starts. So instantly lose first place. It also might be my tuning, because I did change the car to fit my preferences a little more. So right here we are in the track, and we're kind of racing behind these guys, right? And this is where I was picking up the most speed compared to these guys. One goes off the track there. This is where I got cocky and thought I could get through, but I ended up smacking into this guy and then basically wiping myself out. Quite embarrassing, actually. I could have avoided that entirely. Oh, and not to mention the 2.5 seconds. So you could already guess, like, oh crap, my race is ruined. Most people would already give up at this point. But I kept going for a while. We ended up tussling for a little bit with another guy, and I started making a bunch of mistakes, as you can see. And the race just did not go well for me. I got humbled, basically, and then ended up finishing the race at a different time. Later in the race, nor towards the end though, things improved a lot better for me. So as I said, I tussled with the guy in last place, and as you can see, I'm kind of coming up with him. It was unfortunate because on the final lap here, we started actually gaining up to the guys. If we had more time, we probably would have cooperated with each other, but I just turned on my race gears and was about to say, hey, I'm going to try to get a 4th place. There was 6 of us, and the guy that was in 6th place did end up quitting, unfortunately, and didn't finish the race. But here I am trying to catch up to this guy, and I eventually do take his position. So this isn't the final lap just yet, but it's about to be as we cross this threshold. And I believe it's the upcoming part where I start to really catch up to him. Unfortunately, I go off the track a little bit there, but luckily the penalty system is... Nope, never mind. It is still mean to me. I'm pre-recording this over my footage, so don't quite remember everything that happened, but unfortunately, everything was just going wrong for me, unfortunately. And this race just kind of proved to me that I have a lot of room for... There it was. He made the big mistake right there. He went wide on his track, and I kept it relatively clean there despite the half a second. And, you know, despite the penalty, I still ended up in 4th, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, I'm hitting these corners, and at this point, I know that I'm not going to finish in any other position, which kind of sucks because you can kind of see on that mini-map that we were kind of starting to gain on these guys a little bit, and you can kind of see that in the numbers up above. I think right there I just got up by a second on them and whatnot as they came down for a bit, but on some of these straights they kind of escape away. Overall, I do like the tuning of this car, but it's got... GT's not my thing normally, so I thought I'd try this out, try something new. And this was quite a humbling experience for me, as I'm still learning to race, you know, and trying to find ways to improve, and it's honestly not as easy as it looks, especially when you don't know these tracks well. Sometimes all you got to do is just lap around over and over and over. And I guess there's one more lap in this. The guys at this point have kind of taken off because they're on the speed. They're getting away. It looks like they've gone up a bit. So I just take this opportunity to take this corner as smooth as possible, and I actually think I take that better than I did in the practice run. At this point, I'm just trying to improve my speed times to try to get faster, and this is where I think this is the part where I noticed that I was actually catching up to those guys, because I was starting to kind of push my car to a further limit, and I also felt like I was driving a little smoother. This is something that I think I need to practice on. I know that I struggle quite a bit with racing with people, specifically because I notice I get in collisions with people quite a bit, even if it's subtle collisions, and they usually don't work out for me, because unlike a steering wheel where you can, you know, make quick jolting adjustments, you can't really do that on a controller without spinning your car out, because it only really knows left and right. It doesn't really know, you know, a partial. And it looks like I kind of screw it up there, but it doesn't really matter at this point. The guy was behind me, so it's kind of good that I took that tight to kind of hold the position. I'm trying to kind of keep my distance away from the guy. I'm aware of the guy behind me and of the cars in front of me. Of course, they are unfortunately just now passing the finish line, and you can see how close behind them we were. And not too far behind them, I passed them. So I definitely was gaining on them, but unfortunately didn't have enough laps to recess back on me. I was definitely the faster driver, but I lost it. So we start in the practice run, and as you can see, for some reason it started me in the most awkward point. Even though I tried to slow down, I didn't have enough time to really do it. And yes, during the qualifier, which I'm not sure if this is my qualifying run that you're seeing right now, so this is after I did the practicing. This race in particular was kind of interesting because the track was kind of this foggy, muggy, wet, really, but it never actually got like super bad. Some people actually went as far as to go into the pits to put in wets, if I remember this race correctly, which ended up being a mistake because it never actually rained. I was going to tough it out and just stick in with, I believe I put on mediums, and I was just going to stick it out with it this whole race. This track here has been one that I've historically always struggled with, especially on those long sweeping curves, as on controller I feel like it's excessively hard to keep control of the car on those when you need to kind of fine-tune. While it is possible on joystick, it's something that I struggle specifically with, and as you can see that my driving stuff's probably not like super perfect, and at the times that I get on the gas as well, because I've noticed, at least for me, when I hit certain points, if I'm too early I tend to spin out, and if I'm too late I don't get enough speed, and those are usually the two areas that I usually hit with my gas. I still use the brake line because I'm not familiar with the braking lines on their own just yet, especially when going around a track, as I haven't tried to memorize it. So that's why at some point in the future I'd like to do a no track line practice run and just see how horrendously bad I drive. I was thinking about doing that on Le Mans or the Nuremberg track, but we'll see about that. I actually end up on the grass there for a split second. I'm not entirely sure why I do that, but I take this part, I think, relatively okay. If I was, being defensive, I didn't really take the fastest of lines, and I'm not exactly sure how fast I'll take this. So we passed the first one, and we're supposed to get two more, but I think the track takes about 2 minutes to complete, so I'm only going to get that one time, unfortunately. So we're going to move on to the next half. So with the track done, I do need to apologize that the recording cut off on me on this one, so I won't have the entirety of the race. But we started in, let's find out here, because it's been a minute since I've recorded this. Looks like we're on 21st, so we're in 21st first position right now, and I'm going to go ahead and adjust my fuel to where I wanted it. I think I left it at the standard because I noticed the track was wet, and usually when it's heavy wet, and I'm not going to go with wets, or I guess I do go with wets in this case. No, it's not me going with wets. I actually forget what I selected. I'm pretty sure I went with mediums. Not entirely sure I actually selected wets like some of these others may have. I'm positive I'm on mediums. And I went with heavier weight so the car would maintain grip. I also have slightly less air in the tire because that means more surface area, which means more grip as well. Unfortunately, it does mean kind of worse cornering times, but it's what I chose to go with. So here we go with our race. As you can see, we got the Acura ready to go. Again, I don't have the fastest start times. Get control of the car, and of course everyone passes me, which effectively puts me in the back of the pack right now. I'm not too worried because the track just started and absolute carnage begins. I don't know what it is about Forza Motorsport, but Forza games, and you see, I was running that perfectly and I slipped and ended up hitting somebody, but luckily it didn't run into a penalty, and then I got ahead of myself instead of braking and taking it slow, and basically just lost all those positions I gained. It's one of those things that when it comes to these chaotic scenes, just take your time, slow in and slow out. I mean, that's the whole point of a yellow flag, but unfortunately I don't think Forza Motorsports really does yellow flags and red flags most of the time. And as you can see, I'm just doing horrible, because remember I said I chose mediums. The track is wet, it is like a dampish wet, so you know, grip is not nearly as strong, so one would probably think I made a mistake here. And it's just me more or less getting familiar with the track. But hey, at least I'm not in last place, right? There's someone else is right now, and I just gotta learn to take the track smoother. In my case, staying on the track is more important. So you can see I've already catched up with these people. These are the people making some, you know, pretty bad mistakes. Obviously, because the track is wet, I'm on mediums. My lines were a lot wider. Maybe that guy was scared it was going to run into the back of him or something. I don't know, but I kind of learned from my prior experience that, hey, I should probably take this track a little slow. Nothing wrong with caution when you're trying to be a safe driver. Of course, this is a video game. A lot of people don't try to be safe. I've met with people who push you off the track. Luckily, my driver rating is A, so I'm hopefully driving with people with similar skill rating. So I'm just taking this nice and smooth in this full lobby, and we're getting our way up. I think I'm hitting these brake lines pretty cool. I think there I could push the car a little more, because I think the brake line kind of lies just a little bit. I could probably just let off the gas and let the car glide it. Here I did not take the best of line, so I'm losing time here. And it's these little tiny mistakes that I make that are messing up. So let's see, that guy wanted to take the thing. So again, I'm on mediums. Oh yeah, it does say on the bottom corner that I'm on mediums. So he probably went in to go get wets because he wanted to be faster, right? Well, I didn't think the track was wet enough to grab wet, so I just kept going. As a matter of fact, that's what I do. And it's actually somewhat working out for me. Now, it's a little tricky, and I already said I historically struggle with this track. So someone would probably be sitting there saying, what in God's mind is he doing? You know, racing on mediums on a damp track instead of using wets, when wets would probably be more effective. Well, mediums effectively means I'm faster, despite the lack of grip, and I did use a heavier weight, so it's a strategy, I guess. I'm not really sure why I chose it, honestly. I didn't felt like I was struggling during practice, so I kept them on. And as you can see, I'm taking positions. I'm currently now in 17th place, and I'm just taking things nice and slow the way I would expect to take them. If, you know, in my case, I say the way when I watch Super GT, I try to mimic some of the stuff he does, but I'm not nearly as good as he is. So I took the track a lot wider, so I had a larger start when I lined the car up for a race, hence why I'm taking the track slightly slower. Of course, this guy's right on my tail. He's right there at the end, and I know he's there. And I think he eventually either passes or backs off at the last freaking minute, because I'm holding it. I brake in a little late there, but it didn't seem to really help by the looks of it. He got in front of me, so he hit a lot better. He's probably one of those that went on the wets, so he was able to hit it a lot better. Of course, there's a guy right here who pretty much ousted himself, so I even though I lost my position back to 18th, I went back to 17th. And keep in mind, I'm still behind this guy, and it looks like I'm gaining up on him again, so I definitely have the advantages on the straights. Once again, I feel like I keep braking too early on these corners, because I think there's a lot of room for me to gain here. Even though I still gain, I think I could have gained even more. Matter of fact, I think I could have passed him, because there was a race or two. I bumped him in the back there a little bit. I didn't mean to do that, but there it was. Of course, I'm just kind of lightly following behind them, because I know in this particular section I'm not going to pass them. But as I was saying, in the couple of races back, I actually went around the corner around some people, because this car is just simply faster. This car grips really well on Alpine, and that's what and there was his major mistake. So I guess that was the 17th place that I was talking about. It's kind of hard to see the thing. It looks like we're in 11th. It was actually 12th that we were fighting for. 13 and 12 because we're in 11. I can see it a little better now. I made a mistake here and drifted a bit, and went off the road, and basically gave my position up again. I just take my time to re-merge to the track, knowing there's a couple cars that are behind me. I did it at the worst possible time too, so he just zooms right past me, so it looks like we're back in 12th. Green car's coming up here, and I zoom right past him, and looks like we're in 11th now. So again, I'm gaining positions, but I'm also losing positions. This race is a little whack, but I'm doing a little bit better because I'm trying to be more consistent, and in general just being a safe driver, you know, on the track, and I think that's what matters the most. So I believe this is the last lap, and unfortunately near the very end the recording is going to cut off. You see somebody goes into pits right there, so I end up in 9th place. That is such an odd decision for the last track. Yeah, this is a pretty long track, but I thought that was a little weird. They must have been in a dire need for a pit stop in order to do that. I'm not really sure what their strategy was, but I obviously one-shotted it with the medium tires, and my medium tires are starting to die of death. And I am filling it with the car, but again, I'm trying to be the safe driver. And I made a mistake, which just allowed that guy to pass me. So again, I went from being in 8th back to 9th. 9th is not bad considering I started on 21st. And the recording's about to cut off here, unfortunately. But this will give you an idea of roughly where I finished within the track. If I remember correctly, I do believe a little collision there. That guy did kind of slide in. Not really at the best of time. I don't think I was really at fault there. He banged me again, not sure why, and then not really much I could have done about that other guy. I'll let you guys judge who was wrong in that situation, but as you can see, he's spinning out there a bit, so I was willing to bet that it was him. And of course, unfortunately, the recording cuts off here, and I do believe this is the position that I roughly finished in. It was either 11th, 10th, or 9th place that I finished in, because I was pretty subtle at where I stayed. And that's unfortunately sucks that this is where the race ends, as the recording unfortunately cut off for me. I have a lot of room for improvement, so I'm definitely going to continue practicing on the tracks as I go along, try to get better racing skill, but I've come a long way. I used to need assists to just get anywhere, and now I'm at the point where I can full on race in multiplayer with simulation, tire wear, and fuel on, which I think most people have that stuff off in the first place. Not to mention, I'm using a controller. Well, if you guys did enjoy this commentary over this, you know what to do, and I'll see you guys in the next video. This is Nathaniel S5496, signing out.